Hello and welcome to another video from Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that is incredibly rare, very old, and super collectible. Pardon the pun. We are looking at the 1979 release by the French company Jeux De Societe from their series of movie tie-in TV board games. And this particular board game we're looking at is of Superman the film, as it says on the front of the box there, or La Film, as it was pronounced in French. And it's based on the Superman, the 1978 movie, which starred Christopher Lee as the Man of Steel. And it was the first movie in the series. There was 4 movies altogether in the franchise. And this particular one followed the experts of Superman arriving from Earth, from his home planet of Krypton, and watching him grow into a man and then moving to the city where he becomes a reporter for the Daily Planet. And as a reporter for the Daily Planet, he adopts his disguise as Clark Kent, a mild-mannered metropolis reporter, and he develops a romantic likeness for Lois Lane, and obviously it does battle during the course of the movie with his arch enemy, which was Lex Luther. Big cast, a lot of famous people: Marlon Brando, Gene Hackman, Ned Beatty, Jackie Cooper, Glenn Ford, Trevor Howard, Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane, even appearance by Susanna York. So a big cast in this movie. It aired, or was released, in December 1978, and it ran for about 2 hours 20 minutes, 143 minutes exactly. The budget for the movie was $55 million, which was a huge sum back in 1978. But at the box office, it netted $300.5 million. So a massive return from this particular movie. Anyway, let's not digress any further. This is a ball game in front of us, and this is the front of the box, and it says Superman Le Film, Le Jeux de Film. I presume that says, I don't know, based on the film maybe. Pour 4 jurors a potter de ens, and my French is not very good. And it's Jeux de Societe, the manufacturer, and vos explications are dos. Okay, not quite sure what that means. I'm not great at French, but anyway, that's the front of the box. Let's just turn the box around to the back. Okay, so the back of the box, you can see images of the board game itself. Again, it's all in French. I'm not going to attempt to read it because it's all going to be all over the place. And as I say, my French is not the best, so you would end up probably hanging up. Okay, but there's the images of the game. As you can just see them there. Incidentally, in case you're wondering, there is instructions, a full instruction sheet in English, and the board also has English on it. So inside it is different, but it is, as it's made by a French company in France, the whole box was in French. Okay, so that's the back of the box. Again, we drop the box to the side. The only thing there which is English says DC Comics Inc. 1979, and you've got all the copyright and license information in French there. If I turn the box around to the bottom, exactly the same again, and at the ends we've got pretty much the same again. I'll just zoom out a little bit so you can see the ends, and it's the same on the other end, I think. Yeah. Okay, so that's the box. I think what we're going to do now is, rather than spend any more time surmising, let's open the box up and let's have a look at the contents inside. Okay, so I've opened the box and I've taken the board out, and you've got the instructions there in English, but you've also got this on the inside the board, which is the whole instructions there, again in French. And there's some nice images of Christopher Reeve as Superman, and the Lex Luther, the Superman logos and so on. So some nice images on that. And then, of course, we've got over here, we've got all the pieces, which are all contained in a bag. I'm just going to move this out of the way. And then I think what I'll do is I'll open the bag and I'll take the pieces out, and let's have a look at them all together. Okay, so I've removed everything from the bags now, and we've got everything laid out in front of us on the board. So I'm just going to zoom in on these items here. So you've got the dice there. So you've got 2 red dice and 1 white dice. Now you've got 4 different colour Supermen. So you've got green, yellow, red and blue. Now they're on these fold over flaps. So you fold them over and then you pick them up and pop them into one of these tabs, and that's your playing piece. There's also a Lex Luther one, and that's an image of Gene Hackman as Lex Luther, and the same thing there, you fold him over and you pop him into the holder, and there's Lex Luther. And obviously you do the same for all of the pieces. So you've got Superman there in yellow, Superman there in blue, and incidentally, if you have a good look at these, you can see they're all photographs of Christopher Reeve. So they're not drawings, they are actually pictures of Christopher Reeve as Superman. Okay, so that is the pieces, and you can see the board game there with all the white spaces, which is how you play the game. You go around the white spaces on the board, and you start on the coloured squares on this corner. So the instructions. Okay, so these are the instructions that come with the game, and these are in English. And I shall read these instructions as we go along. So it says, Superman, the film, a game for 2 to 4 players. The promise his parents made has come true. Superman has come to Earth and grown into a young man, fully conscious of his exceptional talents and his colossal strength. This is where the game begins. One of our heroes' extraordinary powers is ubiquitously being able to be in several places at once. Don't be surprised then if you find several potential Supermen on the starting line. Each player moves one Superman and makes him perform a succession of the most spectacular exploits in the film, despite opposition from Lex Luther, Superman's sworn enemy. The one who reaches the final objective first is the winner. He is the only Superman. 2 routes. The game is played on a unique type of board. If you examine it, you'll see that it has 2 routes. Superman's in white. It starts with 4 colour squares and ends on the Earth. Lex Luthor's in orange. It goes in a circle and crosses the first at 4 points. Crossing point. Along Superman's route, there are stops corresponding to our hero's major exploits. Exploit 1, the swimming pool. Exploit 2, diverting the first missile. Exploit 3, filling up the crack in San Diego. Exploit 4, saving the train. Exploit 5, the dam. And finally, Exploit 6, rescuing his fiancée when Superman makes Earth time go back. These 6 stops are indicated by sequences depicting the Superman crest. So basically, these items there, those circles on the board. 3 dice. White dice to move the Superman. 2 red dice to move Lex Luther. Each player selects a Superman card, folds it in 2 and places it in its stand. Then he places it on the start square corresponding to his colour. The 4 players throw the white dice in turn. The player who throws the highest score starts first, and so on in descending order of points scored. If it is you to play, throw the white dice and move the number of squares corresponding to the points scored along the first section of the route, leading to the swimming pool. The other players then take their turn until one player gets to the pool. Here, Superman falls into the trap set by him with the kryptonite by Lex Luthor. Note, you do not have to land dead on the pool square. What matters is that Superman has to stay there for 2 turns unless you throw a 6, in which case you may move again without waiting. As soon as the first Superman reaches the pool, Lex Luthor comes into action. The first to get to the pool places Lex Luthor's figure on an orange square of his choice. From now on, the players will throw 3 dice, each time the one white and the 2 red. They move their Superman and the white dice and move with the white dice and move Lex Luthor clockwise over the number of squares corresponding to the combined total of the 2 red dice. What happens next? The Supermen move along their route, and Lex Luthor always on the lookout. Along his path, Lex Luthor must always move first. Excuse me. When a Superman reaches a square already taken by another Superman, he takes the latter's place and makes him go back 1 square. When a Superman comes to a square at a junction, he must leave his own route and follow Lex Luthor's orange route in a clockwise direction. Imagine, for example, that he is 2 squares away from the junction. He throws 5 and moves 3 squares along the orange route. The next time he plays, he tries to get back to his own route and carry on along it. If he manages at the first attempt, all well and good. If he doesn't, he has another try until he does, or until Lex Luthor catches up with him. What a disaster for Superman if Lex Luthor, who always goes first, lands straight on his square, either before Superman has moved or after his move. Superman must go right back to the square, showing the last exploit. If it is the swimming pool, he must stay there for 3 turns unless he throws a 6. If he moves in, Lex Luthor passes over a square already taken by Superman. There is a duel on. Superman's square. The player throws the white dice and 1 red dice. If in moving Lex Luthor passes over a square already taken by Superman, there is a duel on Superman's square. The player throws his white dice and 1 red dice. If Superman wins, he and Lex Luthor move the number of squares corresponding to the tally on their respective dice. White for him, red for Luthor. If he loses, he goes straight back to the last exploit. When Superman lands straight on a junction square, he may throw again. If this happens, he doesn't throw for Lex Luthor, only his white dice. When Superman comes to an exploit square, he must stop there, even if he hasn't moved his total number of moves. When Superman lands spot on an exploit square, he may throw again and again. He only uses his white dice to prevent Lex Luthor gaining any advantage from his successful throw. If a Superman lands on an exploit square already taken by another Superman, he must wait on the square in front until the exploit square is free, even when his tally of points brings him spot on to the exploit square. The only exception to is the swimming pool square, where several Supermen can occupy at the same time. Okay, a final rule to complete his journey. Superman must land spot on the Earth square, marked by a motif which counts as a square. If the number of points scored is more than the number of squares remaining, Superman moves forward to the Earth square and then back. For example, he is 2 squares away, throws 5, moves 2 forwards and then 3 backwards. The player who is the first to reach the Earth square is the winner. He is the one and only Superman. So there we have it. That is the ball game. Now it's quite straightforward. You just simply follow the rules and the exploits when you land on each exploit area. So yeah, it seems to be quite a straightforward game. Nothing complicated about it. So but I imagine it could go on for a while, depending on how many times you bump into Lex Luthor and how many times you get knocked back to the exploits areas. So, but overall, yeah, not a bad game. And as I say, it is all based on Superman, the movie from 1978, which starred Christopher Reeve in the title role. Okay, how well did this game do back in 1978? Well, I'll be perfectly honest with you, up until a few years ago, I'd never seen this game. And I was an avid Superman fan back in 1978 when this movie came out. Was straight at the cinemas to see it, and we saw it first viewing in Ealing back in the day. So, yeah, I mean, I'm guessing. I mean, this was a French-made board game, so whether it actually made its way into the UK market or not, I don't know. But there is the English instructions there, so I'm guessing it's made its way over into the UK market. But who knows? I mean, possibly. But how it did in the 1978 and 1979 when this was released, I can only assume it done very well, because the movie was massive, and it I'd say the box office, a complete box office smash. So I'm assuming that that the game also was very successful for the French company. Okay, let's move forward to today's date, which is 2025. So what is that? 50 years ago, almost 48 years ago. How well, or does this game appear on the platforms? The answer to that is no. Now, I went back, I must have gone back 3 years looking on the platforms to see if I could find a copy of this board game. And I couldn't find one on any of the platforms, not in the UK, not in the US, not in Europe either. I couldn't find it at all. So whether it was a rare game, whether there was only limited numbers produced, I've got no idea. But what I can tell you is that this game is ultra rare to find. So no, I couldn't find it on the platform. There are other Superman games available on the platform, but certainly not this particular game. It appears to be quite a unique game, and ultra rare by the looks of things. And we were lucky enough to buy this from a former collector who was retiring, and he was moving down to the coast, and they were downsizing to quite a small little bungalow, and his whole collection had to go, and we were fortunate enough to be able to buy that collection from him. And part of that collection was this film. He had a lot of unusual items, and this was one of those unusual items that we bought from that collector. So it doesn't appear to have had very much usage, if any at all. All the items were still in the original bag, which was folded over with the original tape on it, holding them closed. So and that all appears to be in absolutely fantastic condition. There's no wear marks whatsoever on the board. The dice are all look absolutely mint, and even though the card pieces have been folded over and put into the slots, there's no wear on them whatsoever. So yeah, absolutely incredible find, and a very, very rare board game, which you'll have an absolute job to find anywhere else. However, we have managed to find this one, but we do only have this one copy, and this board game, as of today, is now available to purchase on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Superman items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles come to that. There's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I am absolutely positive that this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there's something in particular you are looking for, something old that you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood that you'd like to own again to help you recuperate those long lost childhood memories, well, stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful, wonderful, ultra rare Superman the film board game with me. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again next video. So bye for now.